guys, hello, welcome to my channel. January is coming to a close, or depending on when I actually upload this video, it might already be over. So it is time to put together our February TBR, and I'm so excited. The month of love. I'm gonna be reading so many romances, and we are doing it slightly differently. I kind of like took some notes from last month, and we're basically doing the same thing, but like in a different format. If you are new here, here is my TBR jar, and it might look a little bit different if you're not new. We do have one less color in here. I took out all of the blue prompts, which were essentially some of my oldest books, and instead we now have a separate jar for those because I want to make sure that I'm actually pulling some of those every single month. And of course, because we have Valentine's Day this month, I put it in this cute little like heart-shaped jar. So we have these two that we're gonna pull from. I'm gonna pick probably 5 from here, a couple from here, and then we also have our Kindle wheel again, which worked out really well for me last month. Let's go ahead and pick our first prompt, and I'm really hoping for some exciting stuff this month. Last month we literally only pulled green ones, so hopefully we get, maybe not an orange one, but hopefully we get like a purple one. I'm really hoping for a purple one this month. So let's do this one. Oh, and it's a purple one. That's literally perfect. The purple ones are what I call my active prompts. I essentially need my phone, another person, one of my pets, or I need to actually like go somewhere to complete the prompt. They're a lot more fun. So anyway, let's see what this one says. Ooh, okay, so this one says, a book one of your favorite booktubers loves, which I feel like is perfect for Valentine's Day or like February. When I made this prompt, I didn't actually think about how it actually go about figuring this out. And currently I can't even think of my favorite booktubers. Like, I'm under pressure. I'm going through my subscription feed and I'm trying to think of the people that I follow that I like feel that I have a very similar reading style. What is the word? Where we like the same books. Okay. Ooh, I just thought of something fun. Okay. Gianna Leanne, I hope I'm saying her name correctly. She is adorable. I freaking literally love every single one of her videos, but I also feel like anytime I watch one of her reading vlogs or like her reading wrap-ups or whatever, we always seem to have very, very similar thoughts, whether it's good or bad. So I trust her opinion, I think, the most, honestly, from the people that I follow. So I'm gonna go with her, and there's actually a book that I already have in mind, and has she read this book yet? I feel like I'm gonna switch this up a little bit because there's actually a book on these shelves that I bought purely because she showed it in a video and I was like, I need to have that. And that book is Sugar Baby by Celine St. Clair. This is the UK edition of this book. Is this just not the prettiest, cutest freaking cover on the planet? I love how like bubblegummy and pink it is, but then also there's like cigarettes at the bottom. I don't condone smoking. I just love the vibe of this. And I do actually think this is about a sugar baby, which are basically people that get paid to like date typically older men. It says Agnes Green is turning 21 and her life is going nowhere until she meets Emily, the daughter of one of her cleaning clients who works as a model and a sugar baby. Emily's lifestyle is the escape Agnes has been longing for. Tasting menus, private flights to Paris and Miami, rich older men who shower her with compliments and designer gifts. But is it the last straw for her religious mother, Constance? I imagine it would be. Kicked out of the family home and thrown from one precarious relationship to the next, Agnes must decide how far she is willing to go to get adored. There's a little quote at the top that says, and everyone always thought she was such a sweet girl. This is definitely kind of like outside of my normal comfort zone when it comes to reading, but it sounds interesting. I don't actually even know if Gianna has read this book. Hopefully she liked it if she did, because we're picking this one. I'm super excited about this. Moving on to prompt number 2. Hopefully it's as fun as the first one. Okay, we have 2 here. In my actual fingers that I grabbed was another purple one, but then we also have this green one that's completely wrapped around my finger, clearly wanting to be grabbed. We'll just go with both. These will be on next 2. So let's go ahead and do the green one first. Ooh, okay, so this one says, the next book in a series. This actually could be beneficial. I was actually planning on doing a finishing all the series I'm in the middle of video, so this is obviously perfect for that. However, I don't know if I have any of those books on this card. I pulled like a bunch of romances and stuff. Oh, actually, perfect. This is going so well so far. We have Daisy Hates, and this time I pulled the correct one. I read Magnolia Parks, which is the first book in the series, like over a year ago, probably close to 2 years. No, has it been 2 years? Like a year and a half, probably. A very long time ago. And over the last couple of months specifically, I've been really wanting to pick this back up. So we're gonna do that in February. So there is our second book. Also too, just in general, with like the whole Magnolia Parks universe thing, I feel like a lot of people are either Daisy girls or they're Magnolia girls, and I'm very curious to see like what side of the fence I'm on. I was just about to pick another prompt, but we have our other purple one that we just already pulled. So let's see what this one says. Ooh, I'm literally so excited. So this one says bookstore trip and prompt. So essentially I'm going to pull another prompt that we're going to take to the bookstore to buy a book. Next prompt, our fourth prompt. Let's do this one. Okay, we've got a green prompt. And this one says, if I can get it open, a book published this year. We're in January. I don't think I have anything that was published this year. We're already going to the bookstore to buy a book. I don't really want to buy another one. I mean, technically I haven't read Onyx Storm yet, and that came out this year, but I pulled that for my last TBR last month, and I do already plan to read it this month, so I feel like that's kind of cheating and also just repetitive. Ooh. We could do Water Moon. It says, on a back street in Tokyo lies a pawn shop, but not everyone can find it. Most will see a cozy ramen restaurant, and only the chosen ones, those who are lost, will find a place to pawn their life choices and deepest regrets. That sounds so good. That did come out this year, right? Yeah, January 14th it came out. We're gonna do Water Moon. I literally have this book sitting in my Amazon cart right now, and I've been like debating on whether I should get it or not. Love to have a reason to buy a book. Also, I just remembered I need to pick a prompt for the bookstore. And that totally could have been the prompt because I need to buy that book anyway. We'll pull a different one. I want there to be like a sense of mystery for not only you, but myself as well. Like I don't want to just go there knowing exactly what I want to get. I want to kind of like figure it out while we're there. So we're going to go ahead and pull the one for the bookstore. And then we'll pull one more prompt out of here before we move on to our other jar. Oh no. This is an orange prompt, which are kind of like my bad prompts. That's what I've named them, but they're not really. It's just kind of more challenging ones. And this one says, a book at the bottom of your wish list. Oh, that's actually not really a bad one. That's me getting a book. But I guess like the bad part of that is that it's a book at the bottom of my wish list. So basically it's ones that have been on there the longest. So at this point, I might not even be that interested in it. Let's see what we have though. I have my book list pulled up and let's just scroll, scroll, scroll. We're gonna be here a while because I literally have 1,001 books on this list. I feel like we haven't had any like straightforward prompts yet. It's all been like using my phone, which is vastly different from last month. Last month it was just, like I said, the green prompts. We're really doing this forever. I did kind of recently go through this list and took some stuff off of it. So, I mean, they should all still be books that I'm interested in. But a lot of times I just add things on here. If I see a book cover that I like, if I'm watching a video and someone's like mentions a video and it even sounds like remotely interesting, I add it to this list. Ooh, okay. Okay, so this book actually does kind of fit, I feel like, the theme of February, which is romances, obviously. This is The Confidence of Wildflowers, and this is actually a book that I've been wanting to read for like the entire time I've had this channel. It's basically an age gap romance, so I'm excited. And it's on Kindle Unlimited, so I don't actually have to purchase it. And I'm actually gonna go ahead and read the synopsis as well because I don't think I ever have. I literally just heard that it was age gap and decided that I needed to read it. My future is a big what if at the moment, and I'm fine with that. When Thaler, that's a weird name. When Thaler Holmes moves in next door, the grumpy landscaper both fascinates and amuses me. When he asks me to nanny his kid, it's a great way to make some extra money. It's impossible not to fall in love with Thaler and his adorable son. There's a big problem though. I'm 18 and he's 31. That is quite the age gap. Falling for someone almost 15 years older than me wasn't part of my plan, but sometimes things happen when you least expect them. Okay, 15 years actually doesn't sound that bad. And that was technically supposed to be for our bookstore trip prompt, but obviously I can't do that. So let's go ahead and pick one for that, and then we'll be done with this jar. And I'm gonna go ahead and just grab like the first green one that I see because those are our regular prompts, and I don't want to pull another like purple or orange one. So we're gonna grab this one. Again, perfect for freaking Valentine's Day / February. So this one says a book with pink on the cover. So we are going to go to the bookstore and buy a book with pink on the cover. I'm trying to like think of any book that I have like on my wish list that has pink on it that I might be interested in. And I can't really think of anything right now, but we'll see what we get at the bookstore. It actually ended up being so much harder than I thought it was going to be to find a book that I was interested in that had pink on it. So the first thing I do every time I go to the bookstore is hit up all of these tables in the middle of the store. This one in particular caught my eye. It seemed to have like a lot of romances on it, and I think kind of going into this trip, I figured I would probably end up getting a romance because of the pink color, but none of these really ended up tickling my fancy. Then we moved on to a different table, and this one doesn't have green on it at all, but I just thought it was a really pretty cover, so I wanted to show you. This one, however, was like a really strong contender, specifically because of all like the elements to it, the sprayed edges, the cool title pages and stuff, but I ended up not getting that one. Next stop was the romance area, which again is where I figured I would find a book, and this one always sticks out to me, Go Lightly, but I just didn't think it had enough pink to really count, so we didn't get that one. And I did try my hand at poking through the wall, which I'm gonna be honest, I never really pay attention to this area, but this pink one in particular was like really sticking out. But again, I don't know. There's something about romance covers that just don't really appeal to me. So we did find a ton of pink books, but nothing that I really felt like I wanted to read, except for this one, which is clearly not pink. It's very orange. So after that, we ended up venturing over to young adult. And again, we have a bunch of pink books. This one in particular is actually one that I have on my wish list. So I was kind of thinking about getting this one, but I think it's like the second in a series, second after this one, the blue one. So I didn't end up getting that one either, but we did end up finding one finally in the young adult section, as well as another book. It's the day after we went to the bookstore. It was completely dark by the time we got home, so I had to wait until today to film, but I'm very excited to show you what we got. And I did actually get two different options, and I'm very excited about both of them. So the first one that we got, we actually found in the YA section. This is called The Merciless by Danielle Vega. And I've seen this book a few different times. It's basically got a pentagram on the front, and it's entirely pink, as you can see. So it definitely fits the prompt. Actually, a little sneak peek, the other one is also completely pink, which actually brings me to a secondary reason why I'm really excited about both of these books. I am doing a reading journal this year, which there is going to be a video coming soon, but kind of like a sneak peek, there's several different like challenges that I want to do this year, and one of them is kind of like reading the rainbow. So I want to basically read a red book, an orange book, a pink book, and for me personally, I thought it'd be more fun and also a little bit more of a challenge if I picked books that were basically like solidly the color, instead of just having an element of that color, like to be as solidly pink, red, orange, yellow, whatever that I could find. And both of these fit that prompt very well, so I'm very excited. Anyway, one of the quotes in here immediately made me want to grab it, and it's the sole reason I did end up picking it. It says, "Mean Girls with an occult twist," and that's from MTV.com. I love Mean Girls, love an occult twist. Totally sold. And the fact that it is YA, I feel like will make it more palatable, if that makes sense. I feel like if it was in like literary fiction, it might be a little too dark or something. So that's our first potential, very exciting. And then the other one that I have is called Want, and this is by Gillian Anderson. I hope I'm saying her name right. But she's actually an actress. Like the main things that I know her from are X-Files and Sex Education. In Sex Education, she's the mom of the main male character. First of all, love her in that show. Like my ideal image of who I want to be when I'm older, like style wise, aesthetic wise, just like mindset wise even, is her character in that show. Like I just love her vibe. Also too randomly, this is a very random side note, another really big inspiration for me for like how I want to be as I get older is Frankie from Grace and Frankie. I just want to be like a kooky old lady, you know? But like chic, like Jillian is in Sex Education, you know what I mean? Anyway, this is her book, and I have actually had my eye on this for a while. So when I saw it for 50% off, I had to snatch it up. This is basically a collection of spicy fantasies from women around the world. So essentially a bunch of random women anonymously sent in their spicy fantasies, and I guess Jillian like curated them into the book, which in and of itself sounds really interesting, but also she actually has her own fantasy in here mingled as well. And because they are all anonymous, you'll never know like which one hers is. But just the idea that she has one in here is so intriguing to me. Also too, like part of the synopsis, I kind of want to read it. It says, "The book you hold in your hands started as an invitation to women across the world, a call for women to share the sexual fantasies, thoughts, and feelings that so many of us hold in our head but so rarely speak out loud. A chance to gather the voices of women worldwide into a new book of fantasies for a new generation." And that actually reminds me, because I watched a podcast of her talking about this book. She was actually inspired to do this book by another book that already exists that's very similar to this, that was published, I think, either in the 60s or 70s. So that's why it kind of says for a new generation, and I don't know, I think that's really cool. And it's also making me interested in checking out that other book as well, because like what were people in the 70s thinking about, you know? This is gonna be our book for February. I'm very excited. So those are all of the prompts that I'm gonna pick from our prompt jar. But like I said earlier in the video, we do have our little heart jar of all of my oldest books on my TBR, and we're gonna go ahead and pick 2 of these. Ugh, I'm so nervous about this. Like I've said, like literally every time I talk about this, the longer a book sits on my shelves, the less and less I like want to read that book. So picking these is always like a little nerve-wracking because I just feel like I'm not gonna want to read it. Okay, so this first one is Immortal Longings, which I believe is either fantasy or sci-fi. This is one of my book of the month books that I got like when I first started my channel. And it's just been sitting on my shelves. So we'll see if we can get rid of that this month. All right, pick number 2. Oh, okay, we had one fall out. Should I pick this one? No. Let's actually grab one out of the jar. And we're gonna do this one that was like sitting at the bottom. Oh, okay. I'm so nervous about this book, but it's one that has literally been on my TBR for forever. It's one of the oldest ones in this jar, so I'm excited to get it kind of off of the TBR. This is A Darker Shade of Magic. I ended up buying like the entire box set of this series, which is only 3 books, but I very confidently bought the trilogy after reading The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue by V.E. Schwab because I really liked that book and I wanted to read more from the author. So I bought the trilogy and it has literally just sat on my shelves for like almost 2 years now. So those are our oldest book picks. I literally feel like we haven't used this shelf at all. This month's TBR jar video is literally the polar opposite of last month's. All right, so now finally, last but certainly not least, we have our Kindle wheel, and it looks a little bit different than it did last month because I narrowed it down quite a bit. Last month we had so many options on there that you couldn't even see the entire wheel. This time I went through the list and I specifically picked things that I would be interested in reading this month. Our options are Metal Slinger, Broken Bonds, Viciously Yours, Smoking Gun, Psycho Shifter, Cash, and Terragnata, and the Air of Fire, I think it is, or Air of Breath, Air of Fire and Breath, something like that. I literally just saw that book in someone's video yesterday and added it to my list because the cover of this book is so pretty. But also too, I was going through the books and Viciously Yours specifically is kind of the one that I'm hoping we land on. But if not, I'll probably end up reading it anyway because I do actually want to read more than one Kindle book every single month. Like I'm only going to spin the wheel once, but Kindle is $12 and that's basically why I'm doing this wheel, so that I actually like make sure that I read Kindle books to make sure that that cost is worth it. But if I'm only reading one book, is it really worth it at that point? Because I could just buy the book, you know? But anyway, let's go ahead and actually see what our wheel is going to pick for us. That is so loud. It was literally meant to be, apparently. We landed on Viciously Yours. So first off, this has one of my favorite tropes, which is fated mates. But the synopsis for this one just sounds so stinking cute. When Rennick was 13, the gods bestowed upon him the name of his fated mate, a human girl. As sole heir to the Mountain Kingdom, magic bound him to his kingdom until he ascended the throne on his 25th birthday. And as a human, she couldn't cross the magical barrier separating the humans from the fae. So basically, he knows who she is, but they can't get to each other. Heartsore and consumed with thoughts of her, he did the only thing he could and sent her anonymous letters and gifts. How cute. And then it says, Amelia. 6 months after Amelia's 13th birthday, she receives a strange letter from a fae boy claiming her as his mate. Humans weren't taught much about the fae, and one look at the horrifying doll meant to be her belated birthday gift solidified her suspicions that someone was playing a cruel joke. How sad. That very much reminds me of like the Grinch, when the child Grinch gave what's her butt the like family heirloom thing that he made. Anyway, except the letters and odd gifts kept coming. Against her better judgment, Amelia fell in love with her mysterious admirer throughout the years, certain they would never meet. But on her 25th birthday, her walk to work was interrupted by 2 familiar words she'd read a million times. Hello, love. Literally, I'm dying inside. This book sounds so stinking good. And with that, I think that's our entire TBR. I feel like that went by so fast and we have no books to show for it. Okay, if I can remember correctly what all of our books are, as a quick little brief over for our February TBR, we have Sugar Baby, Daisy Hates, The Confidence of Wildflowers, Water Moon, the book that we got from the bookstore, our Kindle book, Viciously Yours, and then our 2 older books, Immortal Longings and A Darker Shade of Magic. I think that was all of them. And with that, that is everything that I have for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you have had the most amazing of days. I hope you have an amazing February. And let me know in the comments down below some of the books that you're thinking about reading this month. I literally love you guys so much, and I will see you in my next video.